Okay, so this is huge news for Classic Fresh. Three things: instant mail between characters on the same account. We have the removal of the buff and debuff limit and dual specialization. So let's talk about each of those three things. So the instant mail, that's just a really simple quality of life thing. And I've called for some of these changes. Now, there are some purists that are very much against any sort of changes, and I understand their point of view. However, some quality of life changes are just fantastic. Having to wait an hour for mail, it's inconvenient. A lot of players almost get forced into needing several accounts to do things like, I can trade one character to the other character on my two accounts to avoid having to wait an hour for mail. So that's great. I think people will appreciate that. Removal of the buff and debuff limits. So in Season of Mastery, which was like many years ago, they did this. And also in Hardcore. It doesn't really change the meta that much. What it does allow for you to not have to worry about is having buffs get pushed off. So some of the restrictions is, let's say there's a tier bonus on a healer, particularly in Nax, where it gives like a Armor of Faith or Holy Power, and it gives a little buff to the person you cast it on, but it might knock off their freaking mongoose, and then they're having to chug mongooses, and people using cancel aura macros to remove all these different things. To not have to worry about any of that cancel aura stuff just makes life easy. And will it make people do vastly more damage by using Arcane Potion and Firepower Potion and Dragon Breath Chili on a warrior to be breathing fire? It doesn't increase the damage that much. No debuff limit. In Hardcore and in Season of Mastery, the meta was essentially still the same. A warrior still is going to do more damage. But to allow warlocks to freely put up their corruption and stuff like that, it allows for a little bit more flexibility of raid composition. So the meta for like absolute speed running, it's really not going to change. But for a more casual, flexible raid composition, you are going to, you're not going to have to just bring 20 warriors. You don't have to in the first place. You can clear content with slightly goofy compositions. But this is just going to allow people to use whatever abilities they want to use. I do believe rogues in Season of Mastery were using deadly poison instead of instant poison, and sometimes even potentially rupture. But don't quote me on that. But it's not going to change the rotation too much. But the big one is dual spec. Changing your talents is so punishing. No longer are you going to have to decide between changing to a PvP spec to go PvP or save that gold for raid consumes or something. You're going to be able to, should you want to, just go change to your PvP spec and roam around the world rather than, oh man, I raided today, but I'd love to go out into the world and PvP or go farm and be able to defend myself out in the world a little bit better. But no, I'm just going to stay PvE spec because I have raid tomorrow and I don't want to spend 50 gold to go back and forth and that kind of thing. So I think it's just fantastic. As for dual spec, it says that it will be enabled at a later date. Who knows if there's going to be a quest or something involved in that, or if it's just going to be an amount of gold you have to spend. Anyways, I think these are positive changes. There might be a couple haters, but overall, they're good changes. If you enjoyed the video, drop me a sub and a comment. Catch me live on my Twitch channel, Dwarf Lord TV, to connect with me or say hi to me in game on any of my characters. Dwarf Lord out.
And they say that the Dwarf Lord could save us. I'm not gonna pave here and wait. I'll hold on to the beard of the Dwarf Lord. Watch as we